Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our chief guest for today's opening session, Dr. Rajendra Kumar, Additional Secretary IT, Government of India, for his keynote address.
A very good morning to everyone. My fellow officers and industry executives on the dais, Shri Amit Kumar Sinha ji, Dr. Ashish Kumar Srivastav, Shri Manoj Kamble, Shri Shiva Rao, Shri Prasoon, Shri Ravi Gupta ji, all the participants in the audience, all the officers from various departments of Uttarakhand, from other state governments, from other organizations. It's always good to come to states and talk about digital transformation, because that's something that's very close to all of us who are in this domain for sufficiently long time. So when we talk about transformation, a number of things come to our mind. If you just go back maybe about 3 decades, around mid-80s, perhaps that was the time around which, as a country, we started taking the power of digital in a meaningful way, basically from the point of view of understanding how the citizen interface could be transformed using digital interventions. So if you recall that time, one of the biggest projects was to computerize railway reservations. And before this happened in about 86, 87, before that, I mean, those who are old enough like me, perhaps you would understand that you have to go to the station, stand in a queue for 1 hour, 2 hour, whatever time, then request, fill a form manually, then give it to the person at the counter. He would open a big register and he would see whether there is some berth available, and then he would give you. And of course, there were other problems which I don't want to discuss at this time. So when this happened in 80s, 87, this was a huge change. So you went to the station after this computerization, you still stood in a queue, still filled the form, but then the discretion on the part of the counter person to take the register and show you, all that had gone. So you just had to see in a computer, and then he would give you a printed this thing, and then that's done. And you pay the money, and that's it. So this was a huge change in the way that governments started seeing how digital can be used to transform the governance aspects relating to citizen services. From then onwards, a number of things took place. Many government departments, they thought of their own interventions, projects, initiatives to transform this interface with citizens, and with good results. In many domains, we saw changes, be it land records or certificate issue, or filling a simple form for submitting an application or a grievance. So all these very common issues facing citizens, they were taken up and they were really made automated or digitized or subsequently made online even. So all this continued. In 2014 and 15, the Government of India came up with this program called Digital India. I was one of the architect of this entire program, because the entire note was written by me in MeiTY on this entire concept and the framework. So this was the first attempt to really bring all these digital initiatives into one common framework, with the main vision to ensure that digital technologies were used by all government departments at central level, state level, local level, to transform not only the citizen interface, but also the way they function. their internal functionings. So as a result of that, now Dr. Ashish Srivastava mentioned about e-office. That's one example of how the government departments, they transform themselves from within to ensure that their own functioning became more efficient, and it became almost like in real time in terms of responding to any situation or any kind of issues to be addressed. So this is a huge change that we have seen in the last few years particularly. And of course, I mentioned about the journey from more than 3 decades ago. So as a result, you have seen in the last several years, this entire ecosystem of digital interventions, digital capabilities, how it has all got transformed. In fact, if you see this year's budget of Government of India, the union budget, in that budget, digital is a key theme. It runs across the entire document. And if you count the number of times the word digital is used, it is the maximum number of times. So that shows the power of digital as a key theme to transform all sectors. And when I talk about transform, it is not just the citizen interface, but almost everything. How our government departments work, how our industry works, how we deliver education, how we deliver healthcare. So almost all domains, which earlier we could not think how they can be transformed using digital, but now they're all becoming almost fully digitized, end to end. And you can avail today almost any service that you could think of in a digital template. So that shows how, as a country, how far we have come in really ensuring that we can transform both our personal lives, professional lives, governance, economy, industry, etc., using the power of digital. And this entire ecosystem has been enabled by a few key factors. I will just briefly mention in the interest of time. So how has it happened? Till about 10 years before, we had just about 10% of our population using internet. Today, that has gone to more than 60%. Today, we have almost 83 crore people in the country who are internet users. So it's a growth of several times compared to where we were just 5 years or 10 years ago. Today, there is a mobile phone in almost everyone's hands, and about 60% of those phones are smartphones. So you can access internet. People can access internet from anywhere, whether you are in a village or town. Now it doesn't matter. You have 4G access almost everywhere, not everywhere, but almost. You have now universal bank accounts availability to everyone. So everyone has a bank account. You have a digital ID for everyone. So today, any person can authenticate himself or herself using the online mechanism. So it is so much easier for a government department to authenticate somebody's identity completely online in real time and deliver service. So you can see the ecosystem that has been now built over the last several years to enable this transformation to happen. And this is one of the key reasons why today, with pride, we can say that what we have done in India, today, most of the world, they can only aspire to reach. I will just mention a few areas where we can really be proud of what we have done. So I mentioned about digital identity. The Aadhaar platform, there is nothing like this anywhere else in the world. Our digital payment platform, UPI, there is nothing, no parallel anywhere else in the world. We can really be proud. The platform we built for vaccination, CoWIN, again, the world's biggest, the world's best. Our GST network, again, the world's biggest, the world's best. Our government e-marketplace, again, nothing else anywhere nothing of this type anywhere else in the world. So there are a number of areas where we have built this cross-cutting digital, fully online platforms, which are enabling massive transformations to take place across almost all domains that we can think of. Not only limited to government departments, but also in the private sector, in the industry, and everywhere. Today, we have the world's third largest startup ecosystem. So how has it come about? If you see the startup ecosystem, today we have 100 plus unicorns. We couldn't think of this happening just 2 years before. We had just about 15 or less than 20. And in last year we had 45, and this year we already have 18 in the 6 months of the current year. So that shows the strength of innovation, the ecosystem that we have built for innovation, the support from the government and other organizations, and the entrepreneurship that is being displayed by our young people. So all this happening together, this is the golden period for digital transformation in the country. That I must really say, and we all must recognize. There has been no better time in India for really understanding the power of digital and how it can transform our lives, our government, our economy, our industry, and almost everything that we can perceive. In fact, I keep telling people that if it was not for digital, the pandemic would have had much greater adverse impact on our lives and our economy compared to what we have seen. And the recovery that we have made, remarkable internationally in a short time, our economy is back on track, and we are currently this year's or last year's also the fastest growing economy in the world. It has all happened because we have put in place a digital infrastructure, digital services, and a digital economy, which is growing very fast, which has enabled this to happen. A very quick recovery, allowing people to work from home. So today you can work from anywhere, and that's becoming the norm across the industry. Perhaps it will continue for some more time. So this shows the power of digital and how it can really enable change to happen in almost any sphere that we can think of. So how this can really be taken to next level? So let me talk about that as a key theme of what I want to discuss, I want to really mention here. So we have seen the change. We have seen our economy grow to current $3 trillion plus. And we have seen the power of digital in terms of its ability to transform almost all sectors of the economy, governance, etc. So how do we go to the next level now? How do we exploit the power of digital even more? If you remember, in 2019, MeiTY had unveiled the $1 trillion digital economy vision, which is a key part of our overall roadmap, our overall vision for the next 4 to 5 years. So as per this vision, what MeiTY, that is the department where I am, and so we wish to ensure that our digital economy grows to the level of at least $1 trillion in the next 4 to 5 years by 2025-26. And how this is going to happen? Current size of the digital economy in India is about 200, maybe this year this is higher, $225 billion. It has to go at least 4 to 5x in the next 4 to 5 years. And the main focus I mentioned is that we need to use digital as the key transformational initiative in all the domains. And that's how this vision is going to be achieved. So there are some key pillars of this overall transformation roadmap that we have thought of and what we have unveiled. So let me mention just a few key elements of this overall vision. So the first key pillar of this entire $1 trillion digital economy vision is to ensure that we create world-class digital infra across the entire country. Of course, we have BharatNet, which is spreading across the entire country now. We have 4G, which is covering almost the whole country. And now we have 5G that will come hopefully in the next few months. So we want to ensure that every citizen in India has access to world-class digital infrastructure and a high-speed broadband, mobile or fixed line, but it must be reliable and provide the person with the quality that is required for delivering the services in real time, for availing the opportunities in real time. So this is the first element, and this is very, very crucial to ensuring that we can bring the remaining 40% of our population to the online world, to the digital world. Without creating digital infra, that is not possible. So this is the first key element. Second is to really ensure that our e-governance is transformed to the next level. Now, how that is going to happen? So far, you heard about the initiatives in the earlier speeches. So far, the approach has been that every department would think of a service to be digitized. They would develop an application, and they would make it available. And people would start availing services. So each department, if you see, they have multiple applications. So for example, if you go to Education Ministry's website, or if you are familiar with any other major domain ministry, they would have multiple applications, sometimes even 10, 15, 20, in the same ministry, in the same domain, to deliver different services. So that would bring its own issues. That's all. That's actually bringing a benefit to the people because now things have gone online. But from citizens' point of view, now you have multiple portals where you access through different credentials, and then again you fill multiple forms online, of course, now. Fill the same information multiple times. So all this is now apparent because now a huge number of services have been digitized. It was not a problem perhaps many years ago where there were only few, so people could manage. But now, as a citizen, you may be required to access perhaps 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 different portals or applications online to avail different services. All use multiple credentials. So that much more difficulty for people to create those credentials for login, passwords. Each time you get OTP and then you have to validate. So all this is now making probably the entire online domain somewhat complex for the citizens to really understand and to really meaningfully access. So what is our next step in this? So we want to ensure that for major domains, for all domains, we create what we have called as public digital platforms, which would kind of integrate all the diverse applications into one interface and allow people to access through one set of credentials. We also are working on a national single sign-on platform where the idea is that all the applications eventually will be brought onto that platform and people would be able to access all the applications, hundreds of them or maybe thousands of them in due course. When the state governments also come on board, they would be able to access through a single sign-on mechanism. This is the most common interface in many countries. You take our neighboring countries, Singapore or Europe. So they have pioneered this concept of single sign-on, which allows people to access multiple portals through a common set of credentials without the need to remember multiple IDs, logins, etc. So this is one vision that we have for transforming the e-governance domain. We already have launched a couple of major platforms in this. I'm sure you must have heard of the National Digital Health Mission, which was launched by Honorable PM last year, under which now a national health account number is being given to all the people, a single number for entire health domain. The entire interface is now being made digital. Already a good part of it has already been made digital. So on this platform, all the healthcare providers, all the insurance companies, all the government providers, private providers, they all will come onto one platform, and through which citizens would be able to discover healthcare services and be able to access seamlessly. So that's the vision. And already it is launched in all the UTs and many states are coming forward to really take it forward. Similar efforts are now underway in education, in agriculture, in women and child development, in logistics. You must have heard about the PM Gati Shakti platform, which is a unified logistics platform for the whole country. So you can see the power of these frameworks and these initiatives, which aim at transforming a whole sector using the power of digital. You can use GIS, you can do real-time tracking of many things now. You can, whatever infra you create, you can geotag to ensure that they can be verified or identified easily later on. So a whole number of things are possible now, which we could not think of doing it just even 10 years ago. So just you can see how quickly the entire digital world is changing and how it is enabling now a number of things to happen which was not possible earlier. The third domain where we think we should really focus and ensure that India becomes one of the world leaders is in terms of electronics manufacturing and now focus on semiconductors. So already, I'm sure you're aware, MeiTY has launched a number of schemes, production-linked incentives to incentivize manufacturing, and it is producing very positive results. Today, India is the world's second largest mobile phone manufacturer. I don't know how many of you are aware, by volume. And just 5 years before, we were not in top 20, leave alone second. Or even before that, we were nowhere. So just in a matter of few years, under the overall umbrella of Digital India program, as a nation, we have moved to the world's leaders in manufacturing mobile devices. And now, similar story is going to get repeated in components manufacturing, in other products in the electronics ecosystem, and now in semiconductors. So the goal is to ensure that the current level of the digital economy, which comes from manufacturing, that goes to 3 to 4 times in the next 4 to 5 years. We aim to reach $300 billion in the next 4 to 5 years, so that this can help in the overall target of $1 trillion digital economy. The fourth pillar, which is extremely important in this entire endeavor to transform using the power of digital, is to focus on emerging technologies. Amit Sinha ji mentioned about drones. That's a key part of that vision. The policy that now has been unveiled by Government of India last year. That's a key driver for really giving rise to this huge ecosystem around drones. And of course, MeiTY is leading the entire ecosystem for other areas, artificial intelligence or blockchain or 3D printing, additive manufacturing, we call that, IoT, 5G. So you name any of these areas, MeiTY is deeply involved. And we would like the state governments to really take the lead in all the areas we mentioned. So we obviously need to work with all the states to ensure that the manufacturing ecosystem is created by the states. They can provide clearances faster. They can allot the land, etc., to the prospective industry partners. So all that has to happen only with the involvement of the state governments. And that's the key message that I would really like to bring forward here. So in emerging technology domain, again, our focus is to ensure that India can take the leadership in the world. Now, if you see the entire digital ecosystem, the key driving factor behind all this is software. And software is one area where we are the world leaders, and we can be proud of that. And that gives us a unique advantage over almost all the other countries in really leading the world in the next 5 to 10 years. And emerging tech domain is one area where there's a huge opportunity. We need to provide the training, of course, to all our youngsters, and we have to upgrade the curriculum in engineering colleges so that we can provide them with the skills required to really take advantage of this huge new opportunity. We have, of course, started our own skilling initiative. You might have heard about the Future Skills Prime, which is a program run by MeiTY. in partnership with the industry to really provide highly skilled talent to the industry. And we would like to really become the talent capital of the world. That's the next part of the another pillar of this entire vision. So since only India has the ability to provide a scale and provide the skill required to achieve that scale, so we really can be the world leader. And that's where our vision actually should really focus upon. So in the next 4 to 5 years, we need to ensure that we excel in all the areas I mentioned to really ensure that transformation can take place in almost all domains that we can think of. One more area I would like to mention, then I'll conclude. One more key area in this entire digital ecosystem is to focus on cybersecurity and, of course, modernize our IT laws. Our IT Act is 22 years old, so that needs to really be modernized to take into consideration the new emerging areas, the new concepts around cybersecurity, around data protection, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a key area. In cybersecurity, that's one domain where we have made huge strides in the last few years. And as a result, in last year's UN ranking of Global Cybersecurity Index, India was ranked number 10 out of 190 plus nations. So we have risen from 47 to 10 in 1 year. And our goal is to reach top 5 and then top 3 in the next 4 to 5 years. And how that is happening? We have strengthened our own MeiTY's ecosystem to deal with cybersecurity. So we have CERTIN, of course, you may be knowing, which is a national agency to address all the cybersecurity issues and strengthen the capabilities of different sectors. We work with all the states to ensure that they can set up their own infra for ensuring cybersecurity in their applications, in their data centers, and ensure that their systems are safe. At national level, we have worked with many domain ministries to really create sectoral certs for those areas. Industry, again, is a key partner in this. We also work with industry because industry is, again, a major sector where attacks happen. And we have also seen that in the last 2 years, especially during pandemic and in its aftermath, the number of incidents have gone up very sharply in cybersecurity domain. So that has to be addressed. So we need to improve the capabilities, and that's one area where we need to also become proactive in not only ensuring that the threats are neutralized, but we must proactively detect threats before they come inside and cause impacts, adverse impacts, and neutralize them. And of course, we also need to strengthen our defensive capabilities, because if something happens, and how quickly we can really ensure damage control, recovery, etc. So the entire spectrum of cyber threats, the entire attack envelope has increased, as I mentioned, as a result of the developments around the world. We don't have very happy neighbors, unfortunately. Our neighbors are not really. So we need to take into account our geopolitical situation and ensure that we can keep our system safe. So that's another major area. I mentioned about the IT laws, which we are working on. Last year, we published the IT rules. I'm sure some of you are aware. Those are aimed at creating a new framework for ensuring that our cyberspace, where the intermediaries operate, the platforms operate, that is made accountable and open, safe and trusted for the users. So under the new IT rules, the user harms victims of threats in the, on the online world, or victims of abuse, etc. They will have a recourse to a redressal mechanism. And already all the platforms, all the intermediaries are now obliged to create a grievance mechanism, appoint a chief compliance officer, appoint a region grievance officer, etc. So all this is aimed at ensuring that the users can approach the platforms and ensure that their grievances can be addressed. And of course, MeiTY is there to ensure that the directions are complied with. So the point is that we are now taking action on a number of fronts, in multiple dimensions, to ensure that the digital space is not only made safe and trusted for the users, but also that the users have a recourse to a redressal mechanism. And this is key to really bringing the bottom 1/3 of the population, which doesn't have internet access now, to bring them to the online world. So unless these users feel safe and trusted and they feel secure in the digital world, there would be hesitation. Because for this set of users, for ensuring that they are included in the digital world, the issues that we are grappling with are a little more complex. And for them, it's necessary that we create a very safe online environment for them to feel safe and trusted, and for them to come and use it for availing services, for availing healthcare facilities, or availing education, etc. So these 6 pillars are the broad framework that we have put in our vision for the next 4 to 5 years to achieve the true power of digital transformation. And in this endeavor, again, I would like to make a request to all the industry partners, all the state governments, all the government departments, that we all need to work together on this entire template, entire thought process. This entire document is in public domain, India's $1 trillion digital opportunity. Subsequent to that, we have published a number of other documents and strategies in different domains. All the areas I mentioned in emerging tech, we have national strategies, approved strategies, which you can go through on the MeiTY website and understand what we are doing, what we plan to do, and how we want to take India forward. The key goal is to ensure that India becomes the world leader in the next 4 to 5 years in digital technologies. We already are in IT services, but not in other domains. For example, we want to really promote manufacturing, electronics manufacturing, semiconductors, emerging technologies, cybersecurity, and a modern comprehensive IT law. And of course, as I mentioned, we want to become the skill capital of the world. So unless we work together with all the stakeholders, with the industry, with the state governments, with all the partners, we really cannot achieve this vision. And that's where I would like to conclude that this entire framework that we have built is meant for the users, meant for all the stakeholders, meant for all the states, all our industry partners, to really work together with MeiTY and Government of India to realize this vision in the next 4 to 5 years. Thank you very much.